The horror genre thrives on certain iconic villains who become such an integral part of pop culture that they can spawn entire franchises. From the likes of Freddy Krueger, Michel Myers, and Leatherface, to the modern-day monstrosities like Pennywise, the list is quite long, and Art the Clown from the Terrifier franchise is an interesting addition in recent times. The maniacal killer, dressed in a clown costume and makeup, is truly terrifying, and so are his murderous methods and unpredictable nature. However, there's little known about his origins and backstory, which brings us back to the crucial question: who is he really, and how was his life before turning into a psycho killer? In this video, we'll try to find the answers as we look into 10 possible theories about Art the Clown's origins. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Is Art a demonic entity? This has to be the most convincing theory around Art the Clown because there are several moments in the movies that point to his supernatural origins. He has haunted people in their dreams, hinted at his teleportation abilities, and most importantly, he's recovered from near-fatal injuries that would kill a normal human. Although it has not been spelled out in clear terms, it's quite obvious that Art has a supernatural side to his character. In both Terrifier and Terrifier 2, it seemed that Art is dead, but he managed to resurrect by some means, and this led to the whole demonic entity theory. It's not completely unheard of that a slasher villain is nearly immortal, and the likes of Freddy Krueger and Jason have come back from the dead time and time again. Since Art is now in their league, the fact that he might be a demonic entity is now more convincing. He does have a knack for causing pain, fear, and humiliation, and his murder spree is a well-choreographed sequence where he derives joy from human suffering. These are all traits of a demonic entity, and the theory has been further supported by glimpses of the Clown Cafe in Terrifier 2, which seemed like Art's personal corner of hell. The recently released Terrifier 3 simply confirmed this further, and the supernatural and demonic nature of Art is now out in the open. That being said, the demonic entity might have simply used the human vessel of Art, and some even believe that Art was a human in the first Terrifier movie, and he was possessed by a demon at the end of the film. Can the little pale girl be the demon that controls Art? Ever since the little pale girl was introduced in the Terrifier franchise, it was quite evident that something was terribly wrong with this mysterious entity. She looks like one of Art's former victims, Emily Crane, which is revealed from a newspaper cutting, but she's now possessed by a demon, and this might actually be the one who controls Art. We have seen Art playing with her, and we have also seen her carry Art's severed head, and possibly playing a role in his resurrection. Moreover, in Terrifier 3, the entity that possessed Victoria is the little pale girl in all probability, and this brings us deeper into the theory that the demonic entity possessing her might be the main antagonist. Some have even argued that the little pale girl would be a representation of Stan himself, and if that's not the case, she's surely one of the more powerful demons. She might also be the one putting ideas in Art's head, and her subtle control over Art's actions can be seen from time to time. Also, it's worth noting that while Art comes across as a mindless killer, the little pale girl seems like she has a final plan in her mind. If she is indeed the demonic entity that controls Art, we can expect a bigger backstory playing out sometime in the future editions of the franchise. Wouldn't an explanatory prequel be nice? What if the little pale girl was Art's daughter in real life? So far, the Terrifier franchise has only confirmed that the little pale girl is one of Art's former victims, and we're talking about the human form of Emily Crane here. Although no relations with Art have been established yet, there's a theory that believes in the possibility of this little girl being Art's own daughter in his human life. For some reason or the other, probably because of his demented mindset, Art killed her at some point, and later he died as well. The demonic entities found them to be the perfect vessels, because they're attracted to evil and pain. Art's disturbing mind and his subconscious guilt about killing his daughter might have made him an easy target, and there wouldn't be a better tool than using the little pale girl as a human vessel in order to exert control over Art. This theory does add up when you look at a lot of the events that happened in hindsight, and we strongly believe that this might just turn out to be true in the future movies. Art may have been a doctor with a penchant for ultraviolence. This is one of the popular fan theories around the origin of Art the Clown, and it suggests that he may have been a twisted doctor in his human life. We say a twisted doctor because surely someone as deranged as Art was not interested in saving human lives. Instead, his obsession with death may have triggered his decision to become a doctor. Here, we're still considering the fact that he was quite a troubled character, even when he was human. And now, he is something beyond his human existence. If Art was indeed a doctor, it's quite likely that he still enjoyed torturing human bodies and witnessing the amount of torture that a human body could sustain. He may have turned his trade into a sick game, and this might have brought about his downfall or death when his real work was discovered. The theory of someone who's dressed up like a clown being a doctor might sound outlandish, but there are some instances in his movie appearances that suggest his medical expertise. For starters, he's quite an expert with a scalpel in hand, and let's not forget the harrowing moment when a woman kidnapped by Art wakes up and finds out that she's been operated upon. In Terrifier, he uses a syringe to inject and capture Tara, and the way he uses the syringe suggests a medical background. Also, the fact that he actually has a scalpel when he could be simply running around with knives and machetes is a hint that he may have been a doctor in his human life, and he still retains the skills that he had learned. Was Art simply a notorious serial killer? Sometimes the most obvious answer seems to be the hardest to find, and for Art, the chances of him being a serial killer in his human life is certainly the most likely backstory. His actions scream serial killer in every language, and no sane human being would enjoy violence and bloodshed as much as he does. Over the course of the franchise, we've seen how Art has enjoyed morbid killings, and his murders are the work of an expert who knows what he's doing. If he was a serial killer in his past human life, it makes perfect sense because his joy from picking out his victims can be explained. Of course, his evil reign was over at some point, and he may have been killed during one of his heists or given a death sentence by law enforcement agencies. However, his evil human vessel was too precious to be discarded for the demonic entities seeking entry into the human world, and he became the perfect home to these evil supernatural forces. Now, his serial killer traits can be better utilized, and he still retains some of his past hobbies. If this doesn't sound convincing, we don't know what is. Do Sienna Shaw and Art the Clown have an unknown history? Sienna Shaw has been an interesting addition to the franchise, and finally we have a heroic character who's the only one capable of battling Art so far. Her character has been framed around that of an angelic warrior, and she's the opposite force to Art's evil and negativity. It has been revealed that her father had concluded a detailed research on Art and even left her a magical sword that's able to inflict serious damage on him. Her encounters with the killer clown have been quite memorable, and she even decapitated him at the end of Terrifier 2. After Art returns in Terrifier 3, he goes after her family one more time, and this time he's helped by the possessed Victoria Hayes. Sienna's entire family is seemingly killed, and her husband Gabby falls into the portal to hell. However, she does manage to fight back and forces Art to flee. The movie ends with Sienna promising to find Gabby, and clearly she now seeks revenge by destroying Art the Clown once and for all. But the bigger question is, what is her relation with Art the Clown, and how does her father know so much about this demonic entity? It's quite likely that Sienna's father was some kind of demon hunter, and he knew a lot more about Art than the viewers at this point. He might have planned a way to end his evil reign, but his actions may have failed because of his untimely death. We wouldn't be surprised if Art turns out to be the one who orchestrated his death, but little did he know that Sienna's father would leave enough for his daughter to continue the fight. Could Art be a real-life clown in his human life? There are some major hints in the movies that Art worked at a carnival, and there's a good chance that he actually played the role of a clown in real life when he was still a human. He may not have been so good at his job, and the carnival may have suffered heavy losses. As a result, he might have killed himself with a lot of grievances and fury in his mind. He then became a vessel for a demonic entity, and all his frustrations found an outlet through his killings. This would explain why he's always dressed up like a clown, and his miming talents would also make sense. The facial expressions that he makes, or the creepy smile that he puts on, all point to a past life when he was a clown. What if Art was an occult practitioner? We've all heard stories of demons being summoned through certain ritualistic practices, and this might be connected to Art's origin story as well. The psycho clown may have been an occult practitioner in his human life, and he may have been a devil worshipper of sorts. The victims that he killed were simply sacrifices for the ritual, and finally, it may have succeeded with a demonic entity brought from the depths of hell to possess him. Now, Art is a vessel for the demon that he summoned himself, and the lust for killing continues until someone can end them both permanently. What if there are multiple Art the Clowns? This is never talked about because of its outrageous nature, but can you really rule out the possibility that there's more than one such killer clown on the prowl? What we have perceived as Art the Clown so far in the franchise can actually turn out to be multiple individuals who slip into the character. There's a slight change in the appearance of Art as we have moved through the franchise. Of course, you can argue that the change is largely because of the actor being changed and the higher production values presently, but it would be interesting if it turns out that there's more than one such character out there. Could Art be a Cenobite? For those who don't know, we're stepping into the world of Hellraiser, and this is a reference to one of the scariest entities in horror film history, the Cenobites. These creatures belong from a hellish realm, and can be summoned by solving a cursed puzzle box. They enjoy torturing and killing humans in the worst ways imaginable, and this sadistic tendency can be noticed in Art the Clown as well. In one of our earlier videos of Art the Clown, someone pointed out in the comments that Art could actually be a Cenobite, and this got us thinking. Of course, the theory is a bit too far-fetched because the Hellraiser franchise is set in a different universe altogether, but we have to admit that certain things do add up. It could easily be the case that someone solved the cursed puzzle box and summoned Art the Clown unwittingly. Now he's leaving a trail of blood as he goes from one victim to the next. The only major problem in this theory is the fact that Art has been shown to feel physical pain, and the Cenobites only enjoy the physical damage done to them in any form. Also, the Cenobites usually head back to their hellish realm once their job is done, but Art is still out there on his unending hunt. Marvelous verdict. About time that Art's mystery is revealed. Of course, we love the mysterious element that surrounds a character as disturbing and wacky as Art the Clown, but now that we're deep into the franchise, maybe it's time to unveil the real origins of the character. The next movie may not be officially confirmed, but going by the box office success of Terrifier 3, it's quite a certainty at this point. We wouldn't mind if Terrifier 4 actually turns out to be a prequel that delves into the detailed backstory of Art the Clown. We would love to know more about the human life of this deranged killer clown, and it would also add more context to the story that lies ahead. However, we can say with some confidence that the reality behind Art will be one of the theories that we discussed, or a combination of some of these for sure. Do let us know in the comments below which one of these theories you find the most convincing and why. Also, tell us your own theories about Art the Clown's real backstory if you have one. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone!